It's Welcome to Derry episode 3, titled Now You See It, was absolutely golden. Probably my favorite episode thus far. You guys, we're only 3 episodes in, and it's getting better with each episode. Andy Muschietti is absolutely cooking. The creative team behind this is really doing wonderful stuff, especially with the story and characters, the way they are written. I am so impressed. And hats off to Andy Muschietti for making a small, brief cameo appearance in this very own episode in 1908 during the whole, circus thing. Absolutely good. He nailed his small, brief cameo. Now, you guys, let's talk some key points from this very own episode. Now you see it, you guys, which was absolutely astonishing. So, some key points. The 1908 flashback, which was really interesting to me. So, the episode opens in 1908 at a carnival, where a young boy named Francis, later revealed to be the young General Shaw, which, whoa, what a plot twist. I was like, where are we going with this? And then things started to make some real good sense. So he's lured into the funhouse attraction, which I don't know why any child would ever go into that shit. It's absolutely terrifying. So he is scared by a menacing skeleton man with one eye missing. Outside, he acquires the slingshot that will become a significant object in the future. He trades the slingshot to a young Native American girl, Rose, who uses it to wound a monster chasing Francis later in the woods. So the backstory of Francis and the young Native American girl in this episode was absolutely great. I love how it all made sense and all tied in. To see him as a young boy trading in the slingshot for some water. Even his dad was like, "Where's the slingshot? I wanted you that slingshot." He was like, "Yo, man, sorry, I got a crush right now. I don't know what to tell you." But that whole sequence was awesome, man. And I love their relationship. And I hope to see more of it, in this next episode. Because you guys have to remember, when you leave Derry, you leave everything behind. You don't remember anything. So everything is starting to come full circle and understanding Shaw's motives. So he doesn't remember much because he had left Derry. And he told Rose when they were kids, my dad's being based off somewhere, so we're going to be leaving. And she's like, "Oh, this place has a tendency to make you forget things." So his motive ultimately is to remember what happened, because that was such a huge moment in his childhood where he was terrified, chased through the woods by this freaking one-eyed looking monster that was Pennywise. And I love the fact that, we haven't seen Pennywise yet in full clown form. I love he's feeding on the fears of what you're afraid of. So when that big reveal does come, when Pennywise actually does make his on-screen entrance in this season, you guys, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. But that flashback sequence, you guys, was so important to the story moving forward. And then you got to jump it right into the kids' plan. So in 1962, the timeline, right? Lily is released from Jupiter Hills, that's the asylum. We all saw her go at the end of episode 2. Feeling guilty, she seeks out Ronnie to make amends. Together with Will and Rich, they form, this series, this version of the Losers Club, which I really like, and devise a plan to prove the existence of the supernatural entity that will use a camera to photograph the ghost of their dead friends in the local cemetery. Really good stuff. A lot of CGI, I get it, but when you're trying to, visualize and you're trying to, shoot things of this nature, it's going to be CGI. I know a lot of people aren't, the biggest fans of Andy Muschietti when it comes to his CGI stuff, but I still think it ultimately worked really good. And seeing the kids come together and form a Losers Club and really trying to form this, a physical proof of this entity, Pennywise, I thought it was brilliant. And we got a first glimpse of Pennywise because of Will. When Will shot, that last photo before he ran off, I thought Will was toast. And I also ultimately remembered, Will makes it out because his story will be continue on because of his son, Mike. I won't say much, but you guys, I don't want to spoil anything if anybody hasn't seen, the last 2 It films. But I thought it was brilliant, genius. All the kids kept dropping the damn camera. I was like, "Stop dropping the camera. You guys are driving me absolutely nuts. Just snap the photo and then move on. Don't drop the damn camera." But all 3 kids dropped the camera. But that whole sequence was absolutely fun. It really reminded me of something from the haunted house. It was absolutely awesome. Seeing all, the original Losers Club, so to say, Lily's friends all coming back from the grave and all being, dismembered and, chasing after them through the whole cemetery was absolutely terrifying. And then we got to move on to the photo reveal. So the children break into the school darkroom to develop their photos. The images clearly show the ghostly figures of their friends. Will's final photo, while blurry, shows a shape that was glowing with yellow eyes, which identifies as the clown. Their first confirmed image of Pennywise. Really loved how they utilized that because he was like, oh, it's a clown. These kids have no idea who Pennywise is. So I ultimately think seeing Pennywise in full form is much scarier than seeing whatever, dark entity Pennywise is, currently forming to come after you. Because he looks, a massive 6.5-foot clown, you guys, is more terrifying than anything to me. I'm sorry, but if I seen that shit as a kid, a ginormous clown, I'm running. With razor sharp teeth, my black ass is going to get out of there. And then the whole storyline of Dick Heron, you guys, I love how they're making it canon to the world of Stephen King, you guys. It's absolutely genius. So, his vision. Dick Halloran and Major Hanlon fly in a helicopter over the military's evacuation site. Using General Shaw's old slingshot, which I loved, Halloran shines as his powerful psychic vision. He is transported into the sewers where he sees Pennywise circus wagon, floating bodies, and the entity's glowing eyes, which ask, "Who are you?" He is warned by the spirit and his grandmother to run. Shaken by the encounter, Halloran later warns General Shaw that the entity wasn't supposed to see us. So now that Pennywise is aware that, the military is kind of formulating something, looking for him, he warns General Shaw that something is going to happen, something bad. So can we please scale back a little bit? I loved that whole sequence. And I love Hanlon's relationship with Halloran. Like, honestly, when, he comes over for dinner and then the whole big, I never told you I had a son was really interesting to me because that was a massive reveal. Because if you guys remember when Hanlon was attacked, he ends up realizing that he had this weird feeling. Some weird feeling that he had never felt before other than being around him the second time. He was like, I had that feeling this night. I'm having it again. It was you in that mask. I was like, oh, this is getting good because he was like, I want to meet your son one day. Or, where is your son? And he confronted him. He was like, I never told you I had a son. Never told you once. So something is up. But I love their whole relationship. They're about to eat some mud cake. I was like, oh man, some mud cake sounds absolutely delicious right now. But absolutely genius of writing when, interconnecting all these plots and, going back to 1908 at the carnival, the circus, and, General Shaw and, with Rose, the slingshot, all of that was just so uniquely well done. This is just the beginning because General Shaw is trying to remember to the best of his ability. There's all the town hall meetings with the Native Americans because, they're sacred Indian burial grounds or whatever. And, they don't want the government, messing with any of that. But, Rose ultimately knows why Shaw is doing what he's doing. So that whole interaction with them, I thought was beautiful. I loved it. And I love how it, integrated to when they were, children. I loved it. I thought it was beautiful, because they obviously had a little fling that summer. They were 12 years old. But, she understands. She does not trust Shaw one bit. Despite they had a fling when they were 12. She was like, nah, you got some other different ulterior motives. He was like, maybe you can help me, help me stay away from the areas where we're not supposed to be. I was like, brother, you think you're real slick? Come on now, she's a woman. Women who can read through it all, right? But I really, really enjoyed that. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. But this episode, you guys, was so well written. I think it's my favorite episode thus far. Really good. Really, really good. And I can't wait to see where we go with episode 4. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the key points I went over for this episode. Now you see it. Which has been your favorite episode thus far? And did you catch that Annie Muschietti cameo appearance at the very beginning of the episode? Let me hear in the comments down below. And of course, thank you guys for taking time out of your day for watching C-Roll Productions. Peace.